Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we're going to explore one of the most famous fables ever told, The Tortoise and the Hare. This timeless story was written by Aesop, a Greek storyteller who lived around 600 BCE. For over 2,600 years, this story has been teaching important life lessons to people all around the world. The story features two very different animals, a fast, confident hare, which is like a rabbit, and a slow, steady tortoise, a type of turtle. These unlikely competitors end up in a race that has an unexpected outcome. Who do you think will win? The lightning-fast hare who can run like the wind? Or the slow-moving tortoise who can barely keep up? Get ready for a tale about speed, overconfidence, persistence, and the surprising truth about what it takes to succeed in life. Now, let's begin the story. In a lush green forest where tall trees reached for the sky and wildflowers dotted the ground, many animals lived together in harmony. Birds sang in the branches, squirrels gathered nuts, and insects buzzed around busily. Among all these forest creatures, there lived two very different animals, a hare and a tortoise. The hare was known throughout the forest for his incredible speed. With powerful back legs and a light body, he could dash across the forest floor faster than the wind. His fur was soft and brown, and his long ears would twitch at every sound. The hare was not shy about his talent. In fact, he often bragged about how fast he could run. The tortoise, on the other hand, moved very slowly. He carried his heavy patterned shell wherever he went. His short, sturdy legs took small steps, and he never seemed to be in a hurry. Despite his slow pace, the tortoise was known for his wisdom, determination, and kind heart. One sunny morning, as the tortoise was slowly making his way to the pond for a drink, the hare hopped up beside him, laughing. "Good morning, Tortoise." "Still moving like a snail, I see," the hare teased, hopping circles around the slow-moving tortoise. "I could run to the big oak tree and back 10 times before you moved 10 steps." The tortoise looked at the hare calmly, not bothered by the teasing. He had heard it all before. But today, something different happened. Instead of ignoring the hare's boasting, the tortoise had an idea. "You may be right about your speed, hare," said the tortoise in his deep, slow voice. "But I believe I could beat you in a race." The hare's mouth fell open in surprise. Then he burst out laughing so hard that he rolled on the ground, clutching his sides. "You beat me in a race?" The hare gasped between fits of laughter. "That's the funniest thing I've ever heard." The other forest animals had gathered around, curious about the commotion. A wise old owl perched on a nearby branch. A family of squirrels stopped gathering nuts to listen. Even the busy ants paused their work to see what was happening. "I'm serious," said the tortoise. "Let's have a race, from here to the big pine tree on the hill. First one to touch the tree is the winner." The hare stood up, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. "Well, if you really want to embarrass yourself, I accept your challenge." The news of the race spread quickly through the forest. Fox, who was known for being fair, offered to be the referee. He marked the starting line with a stick and described the route to the big pine tree on the distant hill. "The race will begin tomorrow at sunrise," announced Fox. "Both racers must follow the path through the meadow, across the stream, and up the hill to the pine tree." That night, the hare could barely sleep, excited about his easy victory. He imagined all the animals praising his speed and told everyone who would listen how he would win without even trying hard. The tortoise, meanwhile, went to bed early after carefully studying the race route and planning his strategy. When sunrise came, almost every animal in the forest gathered at the starting line. The morning dew still sparkled on the grass as the contestants took their positions. The tortoise stood calmly, his eyes focused on the path ahead. The hare bounced up and down impatiently, showing off his jumping skills to impress the crowd. "Racers ready?" called Fox. 3, 2, 1, go! With a tremendous burst of speed, the hare shot forward like an arrow, kicking up dirt behind him. The tortoise began moving too, taking one careful step after another. Within seconds, the hare was so far ahead that the tortoise looked like a tiny dot in the distance. The forest animals cheered, most of them for the impressive speed of the hare. By mid-morning, the hare had already crossed the meadow and the stream. He was more than halfway to the finish line, while the tortoise had barely entered the meadow. Looking back, the hare could barely see his opponent. "This is too easy," the hare said to himself, feeling very pleased. "I'm so far ahead that I could take a short nap and still win the race." The warm sun felt good on his fur, and a patch of soft clover near the path looked very inviting. The hare yawned and stretched his legs. "I'll just rest for a few minutes," he decided. "The slow tortoise won't catch up for hours." Finding a comfortable spot under a shady tree, the hare curled up and quickly fell into a deep sleep. He dreamed of crossing the finish line to cheers and applause, while the tortoise was still struggling far behind. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept moving forward steadily. He didn't stop to rest or look around at the beautiful scenery. He didn't worry about where the hare was or how far ahead he might be. The tortoise simply focused on putting one foot in front of the other, hour after hour. By early afternoon, the tortoise had crossed the stream and was slowly climbing the hill toward the pine tree. The path was steeper here, but he continued at the same steady pace, never stopping, never giving up. At the same time, the hare was still fast asleep beneath the tree, snoring softly. A butterfly landed on his nose, which made his whiskers twitch, but he didn't wake up. The hours passed as the sun moved across the sky. Suddenly, the hare woke with a start. He blinked in confusion, trying to remember where he was. Then he jumped up in panic. "The race!" he cried. "How long have I been asleep?" Looking at the position of the sun, the hare realized with horror that it was late afternoon. He had slept for hours. The hare sprinted forward at top speed, his heart pounding with fear. As he crossed the stream and started up the hill, he looked ahead anxiously. To his complete shock, he saw the tortoise slowly but surely approaching the pine tree at the top of the hill. "No, no, no," gasped the hare. "This can't be happening." He ran faster than he had ever run before, his legs becoming a blur of motion. But the hill was steep and the distance too great. By the time the hare made it to the final stretch, the tortoise was just a few steps from the finish line. With one final burst of desperate speed, the hare raced toward the pine tree. But it was too late. Just as he approached, the tortoise reached out and touched the rough bark of the pine tree with his foot. "The winner is Tortoise," announced Fox, who had been waiting at the finish line. The forest animals erupted in cheers and applause. Many of them had arrived ahead of the racers to witness the finish, and none could believe what they had seen. The slow tortoise had actually beaten the speedy hare. The hare collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath, his face a picture of disbelief and embarrassment. How could he, the fastest animal in the forest, lose a race to the slowest? After catching his breath, the hare approached the tortoise, who was accepting congratulations from the other animals. I don't understand," said the hare, his ears drooping. "You're so slow and I'm so fast. How did you win?" The tortoise smiled kindly. "Speed isn't everything, my friend. Sometimes steadiness and determination are more important than being the fastest." The hare nodded slowly, beginning to understand. "You never gave up, and you never got distracted. While I was sleeping, you just kept going." "Exactly," said the tortoise. "And now, perhaps we can be friends rather than rivals?" The hare smiled and held out his paw. From that day forward, the hare respected the tortoise for his persistence and wisdom, and the tortoise admired the hare's humility in learning an important lesson. This famous fable teaches us that slow and steady wins the race. Being the fastest, strongest, or most talented doesn't guarantee success. What matters more is how we use our abilities and whether we have the persistence to keep going when things get difficult. The tortoise won because he never gave up and never got distracted from his goal. The hare lost not because he lacked ability, but because he was overconfident and didn't take the challenge seriously. In our own lives, we face many challenges that require patience and determination. Whether we're learning a new language, developing a skill, or working toward any goal, remember, consistent effort over time is often more powerful than natural talent alone. Thank you for watching this EngloStories video. If you enjoyed The Tortoise and the Hare, please like this video and share it with friends who are also learning English. What lesson did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments below. Follow EngloStories as we upload a story daily so that you can look forward to our next video. Each story brings new vocabulary and important life lessons